Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
So good to see you. Let us know if you can hear us, if you can see us. We're using some new technology today so people can join us from Facebook, from YouTube. We're here for the next hour, no, 45 minutes, hour, to talk about the full moon, about Venus and Mars, about the natural cycles, about how to calm down, about how we can learn from nature, many,
And
many
about the
things.
solstice.
Yes. And if you're with us, please say hi. Write down in the comments your name and where you're from, because this is our way to know that you are with us. So you can write your name and say hello, and we'll start. So
So,
yeah,
uh, Karni, can you tell us, please, what's going on in the sky above us?
yes.
And let's
So
uh, let's face the fact that if we look above us, mainly we'll see ceilings or the next floor.
yeah.
Um, and in the cities, if we go down, we go out, we see lots of lights. But we know that there is kind of half balloon, a cover of the
Mm,
sky. So what's happening now in the sky in these days? Can you
yes.
tell us a bit?
Yes, yes, and it's interesting that you started with that because we talked about the fact that we're living in a world today that people are not connected to nature. People don't look outside, don't see the skies. Usually they can't because of light pollution and the dynamics and the neon lights and everything. And it's so important to stop and remember what's happening these days in the skies. And then we can better understand ourselves as well. So
Yes,
when you, yes, because once you wouldn't ask people what's going on in the skies, everybody would see it. This is
it's
what
true.
people do in the evening. They're outside sitting, seeing the stars. So today is a full moon night. Not only a full moon, the moon is in conjunction to Mars. So if you were looking at the moon right now here in Israel, it's nighttime. So wherever you are in the world, as the sun sets, the moon rises in the east, full moon, and with it very close by there is a red planet. This is planet Mars. And as the world revolves 24 hours of the day, we'll see the moon and Mars rising to the midheaven and then setting in the morning. And um, the sun, which just set, is actually also very, very close to Venus. So today we're talking about the full moon, which is one big thing to talk about, and about the opposition between Venus on the east right now and on the west right now, and Mars in the east, and how it affects us because this opposition between Venus and Mars, which are the mythological couple, is a huge thing. It happens once a year. It happens now, so we're going to open it up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And on the 21st of December,
Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you. We're heading towards the solstice. And this is another thing to remember that we're heading towards a very, very special time, extreme time. So the solstice is the time of year where here in the North Hemisphere, the hours of dark are very large and the largest it gets, and there's very, very little light. And this also affects us. So I really hear people now talking about their stress, their fears. It's a challenging time. But we really need to remember that we're natural, we're part of the natural life, and we're affected by these things, which is that the light gets less and less, and this frighten us. So this is something quite natural, and actually we're heading also towards the equinox. In the Christian tradition, it's close to Christmas, and the Jewish tradition there is Hanukkah. So many traditions knew about this time and how it affects us, and that it frightens us, and we think that we're at the end of a tunnel that has no end, but actually this is the time to light up the light in our
Yes.
lives. So
Yes.
yes, so
So
this, yeah.
it's incredible because there is so many things happening in the sky which affect us, and we know that when we eat, like when we eat something we really enjoy, it affects
Mm-hmm.
us, or when we get a hug, it affects us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So things in a close perspective affect us, but
Mm-hmm.
to perceive the things in far away also affect us. It takes some different consciousness, I think, and also to be aware of traditions, natural traditions. So when you said people used to sit outside and watch the sky and be with it,
Mm-hmm.
we need to think about it mentally. But that in the previous time, people used to be one with it. And I
Yes.
remember when being in Egypt, not far ago, in
Yes.
November,
Yes.
one night we slept on the boat, on
Mm-hmm.
the
The deck. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the deck, and we could see the stars, and it was Orion, and it was other stars, but it was so it felt like a blanket of stars
Mm-hmm.
on you because it was not there. It actually came. And I think at that night I slept maybe 1 hour because it was so amazing, and I could feel nature, and I could feel the gift of nature
Mm-hmm.
towards us.
Yeah.
So really, like, I made myself, and I live in a place where it's very easy to see the sky, but I made myself going outside every night before I go to sleep to have a look at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really working wonderful because it's I'm here, you are here, we are together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also in the morning, wake up, first thing I do is open the curtain to look at the sunrise and to think about the alignment of the sun and Mercury and Venus and the planet and Mars and Jupiter. And I'm saying to myself, I want to be in alignment with them. So it is very, very special feeling to
Mm-hmm.
be with. And this was Martin. so yeah, so be with nature, and um,
Yeah.
we spoke a little bit before we gathered today to meet with you and to meet with ourselves about the fact that we humans sleep 1/3 of our life, and which means if we would live for 19 years, so we would sleep 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean? What are the qualities we want to have engraved in us and to attract? And what are the passion we want to have whilst we are asleep and whilst we are awake, which
Mm-hmm.
is quite incredible. And also the planet Earth, actually, planet Earth also sleeps. So she sleeps 12 hours a day and she's awake 12 hours a day. And then the thinking is, do we human let planet Earth sleep? How
Mm.
much we interfere with the planet Earth's sleep? Because she's charging our battery. And if there is, like from the Industrial Revolution, there is the machine and the sound and the noise and the digging of the mines, and later on came the light, and now it's a super light in everywhere. Um, do we really care? And are we
Yeah.
really, we're wondering why we don't sleep well, why we don't sleep well in the cities and other places. But
Mm.
if planet Earth is not sleeping, of course it will affect us.
Mhm.
So, what is this scale and balance between the natural things and technology?
Yeah.
And probably Mars have a lot to do with technology, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. Mars has to do with iron, the metal iron. And when you think about the history of humans, I think iron was found, like it started to be used like 4,000, 5,000 years ago, and it immediately connected to war.
Yeah,
We had different tools before that. We had copper tools, which were mainly vessels and music instruments. Copper is soft, copper is connected to Venus. And the minute man found iron, it's very Martian. They understood that they can create war instruments, the swords and the chariots. So and yes, it started different kind of machines, but mainly war machines.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
there are other kinds of machines like the different wheels that allow us to mill things and
yeah,
use the wind in a productive way, mainly used by wood. But it's very interesting. Yes, Mars talks about machine technology. Yes, it's kind of a difficult energy, and it's very important to remember that when we have the full moon in conjunction to Mars these days. And Mars can affect people in different ways. So Mars can take the aggression out of people, but can also cause or anger, but it can also cause stress or fear. It really also depends on how you are and how Mars affects you. Does it make you explode, meaning you find yourself very, very angry, fighting, or does it make you employed? So, yes, they go in. So, this energy of Mars makes us very, very stressful. And we're talking
yeah,
about the opposition of Venus and Mars. And Venus and Mars in the Roman mythology were a couple, and they had three children. Phobos and Deimos were the sons, which are fear and horror. And this is what happens when you combine emotions and activity.
yeah,
Yes, it's the explosion of Mars.
yeah,
And they had a daughter, which is harmony. And this is what happens when you combine Venus and Mars in a good way. Because when you take your love and your passion and you actually do something with it, this is what allows us to love people, express our emotions,
help one
be
another.
artistic, creative. So it really, yes, it's interesting. It can go out in different ways.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also show us that when Mars and Venus combine,
Mm-hmm.
or together, the feminine life will search for harmonies, and the masculine will get into stress and fears. And so it's especially speak about how it's important to integrate and to have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation and to speak and to share, and to understand that each one will react differently, so to be more kind to one another.
Yeah.
because it is intense moment.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can also see that the moon and Mars, the moon is very, it's to do with our childhood, and it's also, so when we are children, our reaction is like, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't think about, does it fit here? Does it not fit here? We are straightforward with what is happening. So it feel like that the reaction of anger or stress is immediate come out,
Mm-hmm.
and we can see.
Yeah.
I think thanks God now that there is the Mondial, because
Mm-hmm.
you see people are so, they are very creative in the way they all, all the cheer people,
Mm-hmm.
they are all painted and singing, but so the energy of this
Yes.
go to a direction.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, it could be very like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Sometimes I look at the games and I see the kindness when someone fall, the other person
Mm-hmm.
from the other group help him,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where maybe it's not happening all the time, but you feel like that there is millions of people watching, yet a
Mm-hmm.
person help the other person from the group to uh, to
Mm-hmm.
to stand up again. And a small story, like someone in our small village made an announcement that tomorrow there will be in the pub of the village, there will be seeing the game, and they wrote, so this group will fight the other
Mm-hmm.
group. And I wrote to this person, I said, look, why do you put will fight? It's actually there are two groups playing.
Mm.
Maybe you can change the expression, instead of
Yeah.
fighting, instead of making it Mars inclined, make it
Mm-hmm.
into the harmony. Yeah, one group will win, one will win, in the other
Mm-hmm.
way. But it was something very small. So I thought to myself that the language we use in these days, we should
Mm-hmm.
be more clear with what terms we use when we speak to ourselves, when we speak to our
Mm-hmm.
children, to our partners, like to be more aware of which language we use, because language is expression of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
Yes.
another tool we can use in these days.
Yes, and it's interesting that together with opposition between Venus and Mars, also the Sun has near it Venus, but also Mercury. So we can be more aware of our speech, what we talk, how we communicate these days. This is also another thing that we can do during this time. So I think
Yeah,
it's very important to say that both the Moon and Mars, which are in conjunction today, are it are something that they both rule us. It's very difficult to be aware of our emotions and our outburst, and it's the moon controls us subconsciously, and the Mars makes us explode with things that are from within. And together, our emotions are really bursting. And it's not only today, because this situation of the opposition between Venus and Mars continues during the week, and also the influence of the full moon and everything that is now in the skies, it will continue to the next 2 weeks. So it's something to remind ourselves of, because this is the time to be aware of our emotions, our behavior, how we allow our emotions to go out of ourselves. And as you said, maybe instead of being warlike, and maybe to be more in play mood.
yeah,
And this is also knowing that the position between Venus and Mars can allow us to be more creative.
yes,
And when this energy goes out in a creative way, then it's used in a useful way, in a productive way, in a good way, then we won't be that angry. Because the same energy that wanted to explode went out, but in a good way. This is also what
Yeah.
you're saying about the football, the soccer games, that the fact that two teams are playing allows to exhaust this energy in
Mm-hmm.
a good way, um, in a
Sport way.
sporting. Yes,
And
exactly.
sport and
Hmm.
spirit is very
Mm.
similar words. So
Yeah, right.
the spirit is in the level high level of energy,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and divine. And the sport is the
Mm-hmm.
spirit of the planet,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because it's also got the O in the middle. So it's to do with
Mm-hmm.
the spirit of the planet,
Yeah.
which is um, it's we human found ways to play games which
Mm-hmm.
help us to exhaust this energy. And you could see how much the people who are judge the game, like the
Mm-hmm.
one that gives the instruction, they are
Mm-hmm.
so accurate, which means that if we want to exhaust energy, we need
Mm-hmm.
to have a very accurate agreement.
Yeah.
And this helps us to exhaust the energy in a place where it will not harm others.
Mm-hmm.
So in this
Yes.
case, we need to be aware of, how not to harm others and
Yes. I think that
ourselves.
exactly. So this was what I was also going to say, that I think that the words do no harm are especially important these days. And it's do no harm to others and do no harm to yourself. And we want to say hello to Mahmoud Khufa, who was with us in our journey to Egypt. And so good to see you, Mahmoud.
Yeah,
So
wonderful.
warm greetings.
And we spoke
Yeah.
about Egypt,
Yes, and we just
actually.
spoke about Egypt, which was amazing. So, and we're
Yeah,
going to do a new journey to Egypt next November. So everybody who wants to have a spiritual journey to Egypt,
come and join us.
come and join us. So um, I think that one of the things that we want to be aware of is that our energies are very, very, very dramatic and explosive. So it's today, especially because of the full moon, which is one day. Then there is the Venus and Mars, which continues for 2 weeks. And also there is the solstice heading, which also makes us, like it's a volcano, because the
Huh.
solstice, it goes in the Christmas, the exit, it goes with this movement. We're heading towards a time which it's darker and darker, and we get more pressure, and it's tough. Yes, but we don't remember that it doesn't end, yes, like this, like a boiling pot, but actually it opens up suddenly
Yeah,
like a DNA spiral.
yeah,
And this is really something to remember, that we're in a difficult time. And I said at the beginning, people, when I do charts to people, when I just meet friends, people are saying how difficult the time is. But when we know that it's not only us, that it's natural and it will change, it's very good to know that. And also, it's good to know that things in nature are always in cycles or in waves. And we might now be in the low wave, that looks dark and horrible, but soon the light will come again and things will change, and everything is in a cycle.
yeah.
Yes.
And
So we'll
and
say
we,
also hello to Lene from Denmark.
yeah,
So it's really
hi.
good day to see you. Hi.
Yeah. Wow, Denmark, Egypt,
Friends from all
Israel,
over the world. It's
friends from all
wonderful.
over, and more people will see it later.
Yes. And
So,
Mahmoud is saying, so just to say, yes, we're showing.
yeah,
So it's so good to see everybody.
yeah,
Um,
it's a full moon. Yes, yes, definitely.
yes. So yes, Mahmoud, it's a full moon, and not only a full moon, but also Mars, the planet of action and war, is near the full moon, and this is definitely the reason why we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, and we spoke about it when it's a full moon. it's when the moon is just starting, new moon, new knowledge, we can plant seeds,
Mm-hmm.
and we did
Yeah.
in the previous call spoke a lot about it. So now it's a time
Yeah.
of harvesting of what we planted.
Yes. Yes. So maybe we'll remind some people maybe
Yes,
who are
please.
here for the first time about the full moon and what we're doing here. So we're meeting twice a month, once in the new moon, which is Mahmoud is writing in. He's from Egypt and he's writing in Hebrew Yafeh, which is nice. So it's really pretty. So we're meeting twice a month, one in the new moon, which is the time to plant seeds, to plant the new knowledge. And then this knowledge grows in the cycle of 2 weeks till the moon is full. And the time of the full moon is time of full blossom. Yeah, this time it's actually a full blossom of lots of energies that can go either in an explosive way or a very creative way, and this is
Yeah.
what we're talking about. But
Yes.
then we're having the moon getting thinner and thinner for 2 weeks, and this is a time where, well, you know that usually we can start new things, be very very enthusiastic about good things, new things, but then we have a difficulty to maintain the new knowledge and the new habits. So, in the next 2 weeks, the idea is that things like the moon get thinner and thinner. We can lose the knowledge, we can lose the enthusiasm, but the secret is instead of losing things in an unconscious way, we can give things. So the next 2 weeks is a time to give things. So it can be
Yes.
to make produce, to make arts, or to give our knowledge and to give things in an aware way so we don't lose the knowledge.
Yeah, and also can collect
Mhm.
it in a way
Yeah.
of a storytelling. So, what is a
Mm.
story we tell ourselves? What is a story we want to share, with friends, or write in our notebook, or think about, like, in a way, sum up the day in a little story,
Yeah.
because it's very easy to look at life and say, I have nothing to store. Story is
Mm-hmm.
to store.
Yeah.
But if we stop for a minute, we have so many stories every day in our life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's help us to store, to produce these
Yeah.
little stories. We might
Yes.
forget them later on, but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really matter. But
Yeah.
it's a way of being creative and also using language.
Mm-hmm.
Also
Mm-hmm.
using language because it's the way of the story, or a poem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also about creativity, I really found out in the last, I think, few days that I want to be very creative. And I must say that I thought about a new game, and I started to do it. And I worked yesterday until 2:30 in the morning, and I went to sleep because I forced myself. Otherwise, I
Mm-hmm.
would stay until the morning.
Mm.
So I think its game is such a well-being when I went to sleep.
Yeah.
And I know that in the last 10 days from now, I will keep doing this game
Mhm.
because it's
Yes.
fascinating. So yeah, please. I mean, I'm sure that this produce can be shared later on.
Yes. Yes. First of all, to say, Reut, we're going to answer your question soon.
Yeah.
So keep
Yeah.
with us. It's in Hebrew, but I'm showing the question and we'll soon answer your question. But to say that you're giving now, Gufnit, a very interesting and good solution because we're saying, okay, there is a very intense energy. Venus opposes Mars. We have stress. We have fear. The solstice is coming. We really, the stress is building up. The darkness is building up. And usually, when we're stressed or upset, people tell us, "Calm down, calm down." And yes, sometimes it works, but usually it's very, very difficult to calm down. So what you're saying, what I hear you saying, Avneet, is you don't need to calm down. You can use your energy in a productive way.
Mm-hmm.
So Be creative, do
Yes.
things,
Yes.
draw, run, take this
Yes.
energy and take it out in a positive way. And
Yes.
now I want to, do you want to add something and about that or?
No, no, I
Okay.
think it was clear,
Yes.
and I think I
So,
just to say that
yeah.
even if you are not a very creative person, it's not there is no person that is not creative. All the
Mhm.
people are creative, but
Yeah.
sometimes איך אומרים, ערוץ, the
Channel.
the
Hmm.
channel was blocked because of
Hmm.
education, because of I didn't have the pen and paper, I didn't have the scissors and
Yeah.
thread, but it's there because
Hmm.
it's an energy that can be fulfilled. So
Yeah.
just just take pe- leaves from the trees that fall now in a beautiful way and put them in
Hmm.
a little mandala or something, or cook something. This is creativity. It's not only with piece of paper and
Yeah. And
so
play, take your
yeah,
children and play,
yeah.
take a friend and play, like the Mondial. So this is also a good way to use the Mars Venus energy. So we're saying hello to our friend Pamela from Germany. So good to see you.
Hi.
And now I want to talk about Reut's question. Reut was with me on the journey to Costa Rica. So hi, Reut. And I'll translate because it's in Hebrew. Can we ask the moon for it to be here a better place when the darkness threatens us? Okay. So it's a very, very beautiful question, Reut. I think, though, that we can't really ask the moon from things, but we can ask ourselves from things, and we can do the work in us to bring more light to the world,
Yeah,
because this is the way to fight the darkness. There is only one way to fight the darkness, to eliminate the darkness. You need to have light, and the light definitely starts from within. Now, every week I do a broadcast also in Hebrew, and today I did there some exercises. I gave there some exercises about how to bring more light to our lives. So, first, let's talk about the fact that we're heading towards the solstice, and really the days are getting shorter. We have less light, less energy of the sun, which of course affects our whole hormones and body. And it's really, we're like the animals of nature. We're stressed, we're feared, and this is something very, very natural. And as we said at the beginning of the this broadcast, that the different traditions really understood that and created wonderful holidays
yeah,
that are here to bring the light again to our lives, to help bring the light to our lives. So in Christmas, in Europe, it's very long dark hours, and they light the streets with light, and they give gifts to warm up and to make more joy and to bring the light, to broaden the light. And here in Israel, we have Hanukkah, which is also celebrated by lighting Hanukkah candles for 8 days. And every day you light one more candle. So you start with one candle and you end with 8 candles. The idea is to broaden the light in your life. And this is definitely something that is very, very important for us to do. And we think, oh, we need someone out there to fix things, or how can I help the world? And it's such a big task. But the truth is that if you lighten up yourself,
mm-hmm.
then first of all, you feel good. But then you also
Yeah,
radiate it to your family and to your
yeah,
friends and to your partner. And then they start to feel better, and this goes and this really opens a beautiful cycle, like the lights of Hanukkah. You start with one, but then it adds up and adds up and adds up. And really, the way to lighten up the world is to light ourselves, to bring light to our lives. And
yeah,
one way to light our lives is to make a list of the things that you love to do, is to give space to things that you love to do and do it during the day. It's thinking about what you're thankful for in this world. And we only have 24 hours a day. So
Yes.
if we use some of it for good things and
Hmm.
for bright things, and we just mathematically have less time to be stressed at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is one way, just to add more light to our lives. And another thing is that light in English has two meanings. It's also to take ourselves lightly.
Lightly.
Yes. And also in astrology, everything which controls us in the subconscious is connected to the moon. And the way to take things out of the control of the moon is actually to bring them to the light. So sometimes just saying something, realizing something, putting our consciousness on something can release a lot of fear and a lot of tension. So sometimes just saying out loud, yes, I'm really upset now. I am really stressed now. Okay. And not to go into the cycle, oh, and I'm really blaming myself to be stressed.
Yes.
And it can go into an endless loop, but rather, yes, and take it lightly. Yes, I am afraid. Yes, I am stressed. And to take that lightly and to bring that to the light, because it takes so much more energy to try to hide it or
Yeah.
control it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, of course, it's different if even if you're not aware of it, then it's really much worse. Yes. So just putting things out to the light. It's
To the
interesting. We
light.
have the saying of don't put your laundry in public
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's really maybe sometimes it's good to do the laundry, yes, and put it in public and say, yes, I'm afraid of speaking in public, but I'm speaking anyhow. Yes, it's just to put that out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I think also saying, okay, I'm a bit like the other day, I went with my partner for a walk. We wanted to go for a walk near the Sea of Galilee, but there is so many fences and there is so many roads that you don't
Mm.
find where to walk. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt I'm starting to get frustrated because I wanted to walk. It's like you want to release a dog so it can run in the field. I felt like this, and the moment I said I'm frustrated because I want to walk, but everything is already with fences, so the cows are here and the cows are here, and then the moment I said it, it was clear. Okay, now in 5 minutes, we're going to find a place where we can walk. And we discover an amazing place to walk near the Sea
Mm-hmm.
of Galilee, which was so clean and so, near the water. And
Yeah.
although it's winter here, it's a bit like summer somehow. Um,
Yes. Yes.
so saying it, it's releasing it. Saying it,
Mm-hmm.
it's releasing it. And then the help is coming.
Yeah.
And we also saw that there is, to see what's wrong in the world, it's so clear. It's in a way, it jump out of the water, it jump in, we see it everywhere. So it's very clear, and this helps us to learn to say no. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want hypocrisy, we don't want anger, we don't
Mm-hmm.
want aggressiveness, we don't want people
Yeah.
take advantage of the planet and one another. But then what do we want?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's to discover the light and to discover what works for us. Yes, we have
Yeah.
exactly the oxygen we need,
Mm-hmm.
we have exactly the water we need, we have exactly, the temperature we need. And this is make amazing, and you
And
make amazing feeling and
yes.
gratitude feeling. And also we can see, because we are all connected by via so many YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, and people are volunteering today to so many things.
Mm-hmm.
They are out, we call it to get out of our skin to help.
Mm.
And
Yes. Yeah.
and in Hebrew, it's again interesting because the skin say ori with ayin, but
Mm-hmm.
to if we say ori with aleph is to get out of my lights and
Mm-hmm.
give it away. So
Yeah.
it's another thing to take into account. Again, in language,
Mm-hmm.
there is many secrets.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So I wanted to say a few things about Venus and Mars and relationships. Okay.
Yes,
So, first of all, it's a very good time for relationships. And second of all, it's a very difficult time for relationships. Now I'll explain. So, Venus and Mars, when joined together, yes, can, as the mythology says, yes, they can have either Phobos and Deimos, which is fear and horror, or harmony. And this is the option that is between us these days. So if you're already in a relationship, uh, I, I, I'm with my partner for 18 years. How long are you with your partner, Gafnit?
we are married for 40 years, but we are
Amazing.
together 44 years.
Wow.
Whew.
So this is yes. So I think that there's lots of experience now about here about relationships, and so these days, especially with opposition between Venus and Mars, it's another like it's like the option: do I want to get upset or do I want to get creative?
Yeah.
So the combination between the two asks us: do we want to be passionate and enjoy the differences between men and women and between me and my partner, yes, and to enjoy this oppositions that complete, or yes, the other option, which is not good, is it can be really a time of stress and opposition and war between the gender. So this is also something really, really, really to notice and to ask ourselves, yes, do we want, because probably the differences between the partners will be very apparent these days. And do we want to be very upset that the other person is different than us? Or do we want to say, oh, great, wonderful, because it's a whole a machine that works together, the plus and the minus. And it does make sense that we're in a relationship because we're very different from one another. So, what do we do with these differences? Is we allow it to to split or to go into anger, or does it create the passion, like the plus and minus, which are
Hmm.
actually attracted one another? So this is a big question to ask ourselves during these days, and also to be aware that it can be a very passionate time or a very explosive time in relationships. And
So which say actually that if we choose to be the tzodek, how do you say tzodek? Karni, how do you say liot tzodek?
be righteous, be right.
Righteous,
What
righteousness.
is the whole sentence again,
Uh,
please?
be smart and not try to be
Yeah, don't
righteousness.
try to be right, try to be smart.
Yes, yes.
Don't try to be righteous.
And in it say, let's breathe
Hmm.
before, let's count until seven, because
Hmm.
seven give us a protection, because it's to do with the rainbow, all the influence of the red and the orange and the yellow and the green and the blue and the indigo and violet, before we respond
Hmm.
and say, okay, I can be reacting now, or I can, if it's not a matter of life and death or something, I can be reacting later on.
Yeah.
And then what does it do? That it attracts something else to come and help us. It's like take
Hmm.
another deep breathing in.
Yeah.
So we don't use only the energy that is already in us and we react. We just
Mm.
invite new energy, and from this we react.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yes, and we also had another little exercise. And you see this?
And I think that we'll end with that for
Yeah.
today also.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is a shell from the sea. Today we went for the sea, and always I have a wonder why there is little hole here, so we can actually hang it. And this is hang like this.
Wow.
But the point is that we live in a world where we don't touch many natural things, object, because yeah, metal, yeah, this is metal, but it's
Mm-hmm.
already so far removed from the time it's been in the land. But when we take a stone or a leaf and we play with it, or a seed and we play with it, or an oak seed, or um, it's connect us to the magic of nature, to the natural law of nature, to how
Mm-hmm.
many layers, you know, aggregated and collected on this beautiful, simple shell, and the
Mm-hmm.
color of it, and the frequency, and the smell from the sea. And my
Mm-hmm.
granddaughter, she do like this, and she said, "I hear the sea, I hear the sea," and so have something in your pocket
Mm-hmm.
that is to do with with nature,
Yeah.
and it immediately give a new frequency, because bureaucracy is not part of nature, and difficulty is, yeah, it can be part of nature, but what we see in the world, the human behavior is really, it can be changed, and
Mm-hmm.
holding and touching something to do with nature remind us that natural life have a long view. It's not the now, it's a long view,
Yeah.
like the seed put in the seed of an apple. It takes 3 4 years until the apple tree will give fruits.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it helps us to slow down too.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Really beautiful. It's also a reminder. Yes, what you said calmed calmed me down. I'm wondering if other people can um, can also feel it.
Yeah,
So it's really calming down. It's also a reminder that life is a process, and that things are a process, and it's very different than what we're used to, because we're living in the TikTok age, and the immediate result age, and we expect everything to be very immediate.
yeah,
So it's a very good question, yes, or a good emphasis to remember everything is a cycle, and things do take time. And yes, it's a difficult time, and we're heading towards the solstice, and it might be difficult, but then again, there will be light, and to allow process with ourselves and the relationship, just to allow the natural cycles to do their magic.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so Pamela says, probably to you, Gafnit, such wonderful wisdom.
And to you.
Yes, and to me, yes. But I think that it's interesting when you talked with the seashell, it really slowed down the frequency. It really brought something. And it's really wonderful to see everybody joining. So I think that we're
Yes,
heading towards the end of today. I'll just remind, a few things that we said. It can be with the full moon, with the heading solstice, with Venus and Mars in opposition. It can be a stressful time, an explosive time, but we can use these energies actually to take out ourselves wonderful things for creativity. And we need to remember that it's not random. We're part of nature. We're feeling something. It's part of the life cycles, and that during the darkness, the best way is to bring the light in our lives. So Pamela says that it brought a kind of peaceful and calming atmosphere. So we're heading towards the end of our call. If you want to say something, then you can write it in the comments. And also after we ended our call, please you can add your comments and we will take a look at it. We will meet here again in about 2 weeks' time. There is the combination of the next new moon and the solstice. The solstice. So we will have a live broadcast in 2 weeks' time to get further into
as
that. If
well
you want, if
as
people
well
here have
Hanukkah
and Hanukkah and
and Christmas.
Christmas and everything, so we're going to have a celebration. Now we work well with questions. So if you want us to go into a certain territory, if you have some questions, if you have a topic that we you would want us to go at, then let us know and we will definitely take it into account. Please put your hearts and likes and write down your comments and share with friends because this is how these broadcasts go further and further. You can always learn astrology with me if you are interested in astrology. And Gafnit has an amazing course for parents that really gives so much value about parenting and being together with a family and children and education these days. Really recommend it. So we'll put the link for that also here.
Yeah,
Yes, something to
yeah.
end, complete.
Take care of yourself. Take
Mm-hmm.
care of yourself
Mm-hmm.
because we are all important in the world.
Yeah. Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Ursula. So good to hear from you. So have a good time. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks
Thanks.
time. Wow.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.